Hey guys, Marcel here, and of course we are joined by another team owner, or CEO, or rather say Susan Tully, right?
Owner and a CEO.
You're an owner and a CEO, right?
Yep. Chief of everything.
Chief of everything, right? So you told me we should start with something easy, and that's why we
That's
talk.
winning?
Like you winning, we talk about your game. So how do you enjoy Poland so far? How do you feel like supporting the guys finally from being here?
I love Krakow.
Yeah?
It's beautiful. I've never been here before, and I'm not sure I would have ever put it on my bucket list, but because I've done quite a bit of traveling. But it's beautiful. It's so welcoming, and we were able to bring in Vander's family came in, and Odoame's family came in, and they were sitting with us, and it was like just a joy to see Vander's family, just Soki and his grandmother is a huge fan, huge fan. So it was very, very cool experience today, and we won.
You guys won. One more step to go. If G2 wins tomorrow, you guys are also qualified for Worlds, right?
Yeah, that's the way it works. Carlos, tomorrow.
Whoa, the call out. Okay.
Love you, Marty, but,
Yeah.
Mr. Ocelot, he knows what he needs to do tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk about, I think in one of the interviews, I mean, I know the H2k management, they said that you guys really care about your players. You want to make sure they're always happy. I think, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but you're going to look after them after their careers, right? You're going to try to get them into college even. Can you talk us to why like player security is such an important topic to you?
Well, I mean, listen, this is a young business, right? I think I'm one of the oldest, but it's a young business, and you look at where I look back at where I was at that age, and these guys are in extraordinary circumstances, and they're in esports, and the career is going to be whatever it is, and then there's life after esports, whatever it might be. Maybe it's connected, but to the extent that maybe they didn't go on to university and they want to go on to university, then we have to help them with that path. And I think all orgs, these days are very player focused. It's not just H2k. I think we've had a bunch of things happen that really test an organization. We had visa issues, and we had the Greek military issue, and then we had Freeze's injury, and then we had Forgiven coming back. A lot of things that go on that are very disruptive to, if you even think like a normal situation in a family, just the dynamics of what goes on, and then you add the stress level of being professional players, being as young as they are, and I think, I know. I mean, bottom line is we have a responsibility to make sure that this is just a stepping stone for the rest of their life, and if the careers at some point in time they choose that it's over, they're ready for phase two, Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about your background. I mean, I think a lot of people know who you are, who you worked with. I mean, probably the most famous artist you worked with was Kanye West, right? So you have a lot of experience that you can bring into this industry. And can you talk to viewers a bit how it was? Like, what's the comparison to work for like a Kanye West and then come to esports and work with like esports players or esports managers? Like,
well, listen, I've worked in the music business for a really long time. I mean, my background is I'm a CFO, and when you're wired to be a financial person or a business person, and you work with creative people, everybody's different, right? So, he was created, he's wired totally differently than me. And the same thing's happening here. You look at the technical expertise that these young players have, and they have this, I have that. We all have to meet in the middle, because at the end of the day, this is their careers, and this is a business, right? And the business to be successful is really dependent upon them, and for us to provide them with the platform to really grow really well and to be experts at what they do. So,
yeah, who else needs to be an expert and for a business to run? I think Riot is fighting like a current battle right now with all the owners in North America. I'm not sure if you have seen the Reginald comments regarding like the one interview he did with our company where he said that, yeah, he's want franchising, we need like broadcast revenue, and I've read your AMA, I'm of course prepared. So can you talk about your take on the whole situation, what we need, what is like the best maybe for us to for the teams?
well, how could you miss what happened in North America last week? It was all over the place. But the bottom line is, the issues that they're talking about in the Reggie, I mean, there was a dialogue, and Mark made some comments, and it raised a public consciousness about really what this business is today. Not what it was a year ago, but where we are today. And the fact is that we need financial stability, and this is an investment. We've made a huge investment in League of Legends, as are other partners that we have here in the EU and North America. But right now, there's there's inequity in terms of the cost of doing business, especially for us over here in Europe and Germany, and the revenue side of it. And we've been having an open dialogue with the Riot team here in Germany since the beginning of the year when I had them, and they're aware. So I was kind of taken off, a little surprised by the comments, because we've had this big full dialogue over here, but time takes some change. But the bottom line is, this is, what happened last week, the way I look at it, is like economics, finance 101 in eSports.
Yeah.
You need revenue to support the expense structure, right? You need a stable a stable ecosystem, not only for the benefit of the organizations who've made the investment in the game, but the players.
Yeah.
Right? So, this is their life as well. And, none of this is a business, and it's not a hobby. Maybe to some, but it's a business. So I think right now is we want to be in the game. We hope that, LCS will be here for a really, really long time. Our players want that. And I think both sides, between 10 teams here and the 10 teams over in North America and the Riot folks, I think these things will be sorted out.
So yeah, you're talking about Riots or LCS being here for like a long time, but right now the problem is like the monetization you can do through like revenue share is capped, right? There's no more money coming in except the private investors, right? So what do you have any ideas maybe how to fix that problem, like except for broadcasting rights, because that's up to Riot, right? So what can
listen, on the monetization side, particularly with this game, I mean, in Europe, I mean, it's less restrictions on sponsorship, right? Sharing broadcast revenue, in-game, content, things like that. And then, other things like also help us reduce the expense side. Operating in Germany, everybody, all my partners over here, it's the same thing. I love Germany. Yeah. I love Berlin. The people are wonderful. It's just for those of us that don't live and work there, it's expensive. It's very expensive. So, you look at the cost side, you look at the revenue side. So, if we can move the needle on the expense side, I think that helps as well. And then, I think, all of us, we've been having these dialogues since the beginning of the year, and it takes time. It takes a little time, and, we're patient, and I think it'll happen. And from what we see here, the Riot team, the guys that are out here right now, they're very engaging with us. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, to touch on that topic, Germany is expensive. Do you think that... I mean, I've talked to like Karis and all your other management, and I think they would prefer maybe to be in another country because of tax issues, right? So you had like the problem with like the visa, for example, is one. France, in France we have eSports like a real sport, right? So visas wouldn't be that hard of an issue. And then you have like the military defender with Forgiven. I guess if, let's say LCS would be another country, I don't think you guys would have as much trouble as you had, right?
Well, the visa situation in Germany is just made a bit more difficult just because of, what Germany is experiencing right now. They have a lot of stressors on their infrastructure and the authorities, and, they have a lot of demands. So, when you need a visa for, an esports player, I don't know that it gets put to the top of the list, right? Bottom line is that, in Germany, compared to North America, I mean, I'm from the United States, the wage taxes are high. The Social Security contribution. Oh, you're from Germany. For the employee, for the employees, for the players, and for the org, right? So these players, they look at their paycheck and it's like sticker shock, because sometimes they're losing like 50% of their paycheck, and this is the time in their lives that they're trying to make a decent living, right? Because they don't know how long their careers are, and then there's corporate. I mean, I could do hours on this just because of my CFO background, but it's difficult. It's really, really challenging, and that's why we look to say, how do we cut back some expenses? Because that's what we're saying is the costs are really, really high. So, maybe down the road we can think about another country that maybe is a little bit easier for us Germans to operate on, And the same that Germans might say about operating in the United States. I'm just saying it's a little bit more difficult. So.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting to bring up that point, because I don't think anyone else has brought up that point, that maybe Germany is a bit too expensive. Maybe you should move to another country in a few years. But yeah, thank you so much. We love Germany. I'm German, so I love Germany, of course. I love Germany, yeah, of course.
It's just that economics are economics, right? This is the reality of the world that we all live in today. So,
business, business. Yeah, thank you so much for this insight. Very pleasant experience, and thank you so much for the insight. And if you guys want to check out more stuff, we are interviewing all owners. We have interviewed Reginald to that topic. You can go back to our website, watch the interview, make yourself maybe a more complete picture of the whole situation that's going on right now. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys next time.